Hello, welcome to episode 57 of the Ironers podcast. My name is James. In this episode, Yin and I talk to a local pop writer, A-Hua-Sai. He's also a social activist who is currently preserving and protecting Taiwan's mother tongue, especially Tâigí. So he had a lot of interesting ideas to share with us, and this is part one of our interview with him. Enjoy. Hello, A-Hua-Sai. Welcome to our show today.
Yeah.
Hello,
we're very happy. James, yeah.
James.
And Yin.
My name is Yen, and he's Daniel. Yeah.
Okay.
So Daniel is behind the cameras.
Yeah.
So today we're very happy for you to come here with us in our studio.
Yeah.
To let us interview you a little bit and maybe like chat about Tâigí in Taiwan right now.
My
right?
pleasure.
Yeah. So do you want to tell us more about yourself?
About myself?
Yeah.
Well, according to my mom, I was a Taiwanese only kid before I turned 5, but that changed as soon as I went to kindergarten. My parents stopped talking to me in Taiwanese, so I grew up remembering myself as a Mandarin only kid. I could understand Taiwanese, and maybe when it was necessary, talking to my grandparents with like 3 or 4 sentences in Taiwanese. But then this happened last year. July, I decided to quit Mandarin for the rest of my life.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So your name is A-Hua-Sai, right?
Or if you don't want a whole name pronounced, Lua Yinghua.
Yeah. Okay.
Yinghua.
So what does this name A-Hua-Sai? Do you want to tell us the origins of it, or like tell the audiences what this name means in Taiwanese?
I used this name only for like once or twice in video, and then it just somehow got stuck in the public image.
It became a nickname, right? It's more easier to like getting remembered.
That is not something that I planned for. Okay, A-Hua-Sai is just okay. The old way of making a nickname is you take one word from a name and put in the beginning. In the beginning,
yeah.
Now, like you make Lua Yanghua into A-Hua, and this sign means you're some kind of a specialist,
expert in something, right?
Yep.
So like it is normally used for like in Taiwan chefs.
Chefs, yeah.
So Taiwanese chefs, they sometimes have this sai added
So it can
to
be
their name.
you can be anything, like
also anything,
guitar
right?
player.
Guitar player. Also farmers.
Farmers, no,
like,
I never heard this from farmers.
I heard that in your interview with another.
Well, because back in the old days, farming was something that everyone can do. You can't really master it than anyone else.
Because everyone's a master.
Like everyone has to do it.
So just like we don't have a walking master or something.
Yeah, definitely. So you're very much trying to bring yourself back into this kind of the old days, the traditional days, like through farming. Like, do you want to tell us more about what you're doing with farming?
Well, the truth is, I stopped doing farming as soon as I started speaking Taiwanese.
Oh, okay.
Because what I would say, what I've been doing for the past 10 years is all centered about preserving the farming culture. Agriculture culture. Strange saying, but okay, that's the idea. And something happened 2 years ago. That was 1 year before I decided to quit Mandarin. I was in this kindergarten in Tâigí, the northern end of Taiwan. And there was where I found out 90% of the kids cannot even understand "Hello, how are you" in Taiwanese. 95% of them. That was the day that I decided to face the fact that my mother tongue is dying. Unstoppably dying.
So like previously, like you're like sharing or preservation of the movement of preservation of the agricultural culture. It's kind of like you're like sharing those knowledge and skills in Mandarin.
I did it in
and I remember you learning how to make these traditional like agriculture tools, right? Like the ones for maybe refining
the grains,
rice grains.
It's called hulling. You take the hull off.
Okay. Take the hull. The hull is the coat of the rice.
That's right.
Then, so you made this traditional, like nobody uses it anymore, right?
No.
So a lot of people.
It's like if your family has been in Taiwan for more than 100 years, then I can guarantee that your ancestors ate rice from this kind of huller, which is called tolang in Taiwanese.
But nobody uses it now anymore.
No.
So it's all replaced by machines, right?
Yep.
So you went to like a place in Miaoli or something?
Yep.
And then you learned it from an old master.
Who spoke Hakka.
Okay, who spoke Hakka. And you even had to prove yourself that you were very, determined in preserving this culture for him to teach you that, right?
Well,
do you want to tell us the story about that?
No, I didn't spend much time convincing him. He was like, "Why do you want to learn this old useless thing?
Okay.
People are not using it anymore. Why are you interested in this?"
Yeah.
So what's your answer? What's your answer?
Well, I can't really got him understand, but I just tried and tried. Well, okay, you want to learn? I'll show you.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you know how to make that.
Yeah, I can do that.
You're like a piece of agricultural history preserved in your knowledge. Yeah. So let's talk about our main topic for today, which is Tâigí. And let's start with, by a history standpoint, talk about what Tâigí originally was and how the current government in its past form, how they eradicated our mother tongue here in Taiwan. Okay, so Tâigí was originally spoken by, would you say by the southern part of China?
Southern part of China?
No, provinces,
not such a large area. Only in Jiangsu, Zhuangjiu, Among these three cities.
So like in the southeastern
coast of China.
Southeastern Hokkien province.
Oh, yeah.
And only part of it, not all of it.
Yeah.
So Taiwan, you could say, was part of that historical region, right?
Yeah.
So like a lot of people, they originally came from there during the
Qing
Qing dynasty.
Yeah.
During Qing dynasty, or even before that, right?
Yeah, when the immigrants tried to find some better place for them to make a living, Taiwan, Jiangsu, Zhuangjiu, Among, those three cities were they had the port, which is the nearest one to Taiwan.
Yeah,
Among. That is Among.
Yeah.
Okay, so like 80% of the immigrants from China are made up from people from these three cities.
Okay. So they brought Tâigí to Taiwan, and people were speaking it for...
Well, it was not Tâigí yet. It was called Hokkien.
Oh, Hokkien, yeah. So Tâigí is like a derivative of Hokkien. So like it's changed, more localized to Taiwan.
Yeah,
right?
it's been here for like 400 years.
400 years. And then I think a lot of people, even in foreign countries, they know about the civil war in China, right?
Yep.
During, after, I think...
Between the countries,
1945 or
something like that. Yeah. And then at the time, China was divided into two groups. Of people. One group was the communists, right?
Yep.
Which is now ruling China currently.
Yeah.
And then the other group was Chiang Kai-shek and his...
and the KMT government.
And his Republic of China.
Yeah, the Republic of China. And so Chiang Kai-shek lost the war, and then he invaded Taiwan, basically.
Yeah, that's right.
So what happened after that? What happened after he came to Taiwan, and what did he do to eradicate this sort of Tâigí in Taiwan?
When he first got his hand in Taiwan, he hadn't lost all China yet. So the first 2 years after he had Taiwan, he was basically taking all the resources he could. And
to the battlefield.
Use them to support his war in China. So like all the rice that we can spare, take it to China. The money, take it to China. The sugar, sell it to foreign people and take money in China.
To support war in China.
So all those doings led to the 228 event.
So people here in Taiwan were very unhappy with what he did with Taiwan, because he was basically using us as
the Taiwanese people was like, the war is over and we're growing more rice than ever, but why are we still starving? So after he lost the war completely, he decided to rule Taiwan just for the sake of it, for him to be a small keepsake for him to one day maybe go back to China. And so after he started ruling Taiwan, what did he specifically do to Tâigí in Taiwan? Well, he didn't really do anything for the first 20 years. Well, he was trying to, while he was still alive, he didn't try to bang the language. Banging the language was more like was more done by his son. So it was like, okay, Chiang Kai-shek first tried. He was still thinking about going back to China, so he didn't plan to stay on this island for long. So there were those colonizers on the top of the society, and there was those slaves, which were my grandfathers, our grandfathers. So a very convenient way to separate these people, stop them being merged into one group, which would stop his soldiers from wanting to go back to China. Is keep the languages different.
Keep the language barrier.
So that's the first strategy in the
Well, the last thing he wanted would be his soldiers, like loving Taiwan and don't want to go back anymore. So for the first 20 years, he didn't, he didn't do anything to the language, actually.
So the ruling level at the time in Taiwan was basically Chinese immigrants. So they spoke their language maybe back in China. Because different places in China, they have different languages.
Even like Chiang Kai-shek himself did not speak Mandarin well.
Okay, so he spoke his local language. So when he came to Taiwan, he tried to separate the people in Taiwan with him.
By keeping the language barrier.
But then after that, we learned also in history class when we were little that during our parents' time, or maybe a little before that, actually people in Taiwan, when they went to school, they couldn't speak Taiwanese. Because Taiyi, they spoke Taiyi at home with their parents, with their grandparents. But when they went to school, if they spoke Taiyi in school, they would have to
hang
something like a prisoner's
card,
plate, right? On necklace.
It's like a shame of them.
It's a
shaming them. Plate of
shame. And so, what do you think about that?
It was not a universal rule, but many, by many I mean like 70% of schools adopted that policy. It was I think it happened around 1960 when Republic of China kicked himself out of the United Nations. Well, because they decided to they decided to welcome the other China into the United Nations. So Chiang Kai-shek decided to kick himself out. That was the point when the Republic of China decided to think about long-term governing this island. So that's when they decided to try and make everyone on this island speak Mandarin.
I actually remember talking to my parents or my relatives, older relatives. They talked about their experiences in school. So they were mostly in school. Their teachers were from mainland China. Were immigrants from mainland China, and then there was this constant conflict between like the teachers and the students, and then speaking my parents, their relatives were Hakka, and so they were not able to even speak that in school. Also,
the teachers themselves couldn't speak Mandarin well. Many of the teachers were hardly even educated themselves.
I've heard about another story from my parents also. Like, they have an English teacher who cannot even speak Mandarin very well, but they have to teach them English and in such a way that it's hard for them to understand. So that's it's crazy. It's like 3 different languages mixing in the English class. So it's a very strange situation. Phenomenon.
Because there was their other KPI to try to give as many jobs as possible to the immigrants who followed them.
To guarantee them a job here in Taiwan, and then give them very good salary compared to the Taiwan people at the time. So after that, I think maybe after Taiwan is democratized. I think people stopped actively trying to ban Taiyi in schools. But then it became a social phenomenon that people think that Taiyi were for the lower class people. Or people thought that if you were to succeed in school or to have success, go to college, then your parents wouldn't speak Taiwanese, Taiyi, to you, trying to make you speak Mandarin, because Mandarin gets you to school, gets you to society, right?
So it's like you want to have a personnel of educated, you have to learn Mandarin very and speak it very well. I think pronunciation is another thing that they care very much. When we're little, we have a Mandarin competition in our schools. They ask us to giving a speech or reading text, bare text, and we have to pronounce it in a very like in a strange way that nobody's
actually speaking like that.
Beijing sort of way accent. But how was that part of the story? So what happened after
the pronunciation part?
No, I think the
competition
lower class, and then why did Tâigí become a lower class language?
Okay, that's what you can do when you have all the media within your control: movies, televisions, and newspapers. Well, basically, just if you can look through all the movies shot in Taiwan for the last 30 years, and you pick out all the professors and doctors in the movies and see what language they spoke. It was like almost pure Mandarin. 100% Mandarin, but that is so wrong. That is so so against the truth. The truth is the old professors now you can find in Taiwan, by which I mean above 60. 80% of them were Taiwanese speakers. But those images never made it to the
media.
Never made it to the screen. So and there were times that if you want to sing publicly, you need a certificate. And and to get that certificate, you need to pass a Mandarin test. So, and what else? Well,
I think I have a memory of Taiwanese shows. The shows that they speak in Taiwanese, they're banned at a certain period of time, and they ask all the television to only have shows in Mandarin.
So I think a ton of systematic oppression of.
I got this. Last year, just one month after I quit Mandarin, I went to this some kind of camp, where there was a documentary play. We watched this documentary talking about really old movies, and there was this old man who worked for the national owned country owned film company for maybe 60 or 50 years, and he said this without feeling anything wrong, but it was so wrong to me. He said there was they had imported a movie from Hong Kong, and they tried to
to dub
the movie in Mandarin, of course. But he mentioned this one thing, that the whole movie dubbed in Mandarin, he deliberately used one Taiwanese word, which was fuck.
Oh yeah. So in all the movies they said fuck, this word. It always in Taiwanese,
never in Mandarin.
Wow.
And that is a weird phenomenon here in Taiwan, because if you ask all the little kids in school, maybe kids, teenagers, maybe, and they really can't speak Taiwanese, except
they know how to curse in Taiwanese.
And so people associate Taiwanese with this kind of bad culture, right? This kind of foul culture.
Well, there are bad words in every language, and they are gangsters in every culture. The strange thing, about Tâigí is the educated people abandon Tâigí faster than anyone else, because those people are those who rely on the government more than anyone else. You need your certificate. You need to pass the test. Well,
they have to use Mandarin in the workplace.
Yep.
So they slowly forget Tâigí.
On the other hand, the gangsters were almost beyond the government's control. So they were actually the slowest ones to abandon the language. So it's not. It's not that this language itself is vulgar. No, never. It's no. We need to start getting the educated people pick up the language.
So it was quite sad, actually. I think last year or this year, I saw a scientist here in Jiao Tong University, and he was a professor that they studied rockets.
Mr. Rocket.
Mr. Rocket.
So was a rocket scientist, and he spoke Taiwanese. He spoke Tâigí, so he talked about rocket science in Tâigí, and then people were very surprised or weirded by the professor speaking Tâigí, and that is what I feel is very sad in Taiwan, because Why can't a professor speak Taiyi? Why can't Taiyi be the language to talk about rocket science? Why not? And why only Mandarin? Why in college you can only, study Mandarin?
Wow, you're missing so many things out. People think Taiyi can't be a language to express being cute. To be cute, Taiyi can't be sexy.
Yeah,
Taiyi can't be gentle.
Educational.
Can't be educated.
Professional or something.
You can't be professional with Taiyi. You can't be cute with Taiyi. You can't be gentle with Taiyi. You can't be sexy with Taiyi. We're missing so many things.
Yeah.
And actually, it's still happening today because if we look at a couple new movies, even though new movies coming out recently.
Yeah, they're still making the poorest people, the most uneducated people in the movie speaking Taiwanese and them only.
Yeah. So that's called racial appropriation in America, which is using a lower class culture. Like in America, they use black culture to represent a certain type of people. And then make movies around that to maybe people like expect you to make that kind of movie with that kind of people, with that kind of language, with that kind of speaking. And it's very much the same way with Taiyi here in Taiwan.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's talk a bit more about why. So you decided to not speak Taiyi, not speak Mandarin. And only speak Taiyi for the rest of your life.
No, not only Taiyi, but Hakka, but English. I'm not speaking Taiyi now.
You're not speaking Mandarin for the rest of your life.
Yep, that's right.
So when did you start to have that resolution?
Well, it didn't came to me as a resolution. It didn't came to me as a decision. It was this strange day. Well, it was the 10th of July last year.
Yeah.
Well, actually, nothing special happened that day. Actually, well, I was with this girl who was my girlfriend who still was my girlfriend at that time. He had this meeting in a coffee shop. Well, I was there with her, but bored, so I fell asleep. And when I wake up, I started talking in Taiwanese.
Okay.
Well, at first I thought it would go away. Like if I wake up tomorrow, I would go back speaking Mandarin, but I didn't.
Okay.
And well, after 1 or 2 weeks, it became clear to me that I'm not going back.
Oh, okay. Yeah. People would think that this is quite a big decision to make, and it requires a lot of focus, maybe to stop speaking a language and then to focus completely on other languages. But for you, it was just quite a smooth transition. You didn't really.
No, it was not smooth at all. We just didn't see the struggles.
It's like people we will imagine there's some obstacles if you don't speak Mandarin. Maybe
I mean in your mind, it was a smooth transition in your mind, right?
In my mind, yes. In my mind, it was.
You just subtly made a decision.
Yeah, but with my tongue, it was not.
With your tongue, it was not. You had to retrain it, right? Because in Mandarin, we have a lot of different syllables that are forgotten or deleted in Mandarin.
Yeah,
but in Taiyi
there was so many things I didn't know how to say in Taiwanese.
Because in Taiyi you have a lot of more different syllables, different accents.
Yep.
And so you say learning Taiyi actually helps you speak other languages better.
Well, that's. Okay, let me be honest here. That's a propaganda. I don't personally believe in that. I want to get everyone to start speaking Taiwanese with their kids. What's the most important thing that you can motivate Taiwanese parents with? English.
English. But I think there is some truth to that because, compared to English, other languages, maybe more so, like European languages, they also have very different accents. English is also one language that they deleted a lot of the accents.
Yep.
But in other languages, there are so many more.
How are you doing, mate?
So we will talk about that a little bit later, about your experiences in Australia. But one more thing I want to ask you is, after you started not speaking Mandarin, were there any difficulties you faced? Like maybe
with myself or with other people?
With other people, like getting coffee in a coffee shop.
Getting coffee was really hard. Hard. Well, if I'm buying a cup of coffee in a traditionally Taiwanese speaking area like my hometown Taichung, I would confidently order the coffee in Taiwanese. And see what happens. If he or she cannot understand, I just say that again in English. Well, but in Hakka region, it can be really, really hard. Well, I can try to order in Hakka, but chances are that they won't understand.
Okay.
So sometimes I just start the conversation with English.
Mm-hmm. Do you go to places like stuff like this happens? So do you go to places and then you order maybe in Tâigí, and then they ask you to speak Mandarin? Does this happen to you?
Well, that happened only once here in Xindic. I was I was at B&Q trying to get something for my toilet.
Yeah.
And at the moment of checking out, she asked for my phone number. So I told her my phone number in Taiwanese.
Yeah.
Well, she couldn't understand. So I said that again in Hakka.
Yeah.
And she did understand. So I had no choice at all. And well, at this moment, I was thinking about transferring to English, and she asked, "Can you speak Mandarin?"
Okay.
Yeah. And that really pissed me off.
Yeah, because it's borderline racial discrimination, right? It's like discrimination against your mother tongue, which is like we don't have
my mother tongue and Hakka people's mother tongue, which together makes 90% of Taiwanese population.
Okay. So really many people still need to be educated on this matter.
Yeah. Sadly, yes.
It takes time, but so hopefully these kind of things are happening less and less, right?
Yeah, we hope so.
Yeah. So that was part 1 of our chat with A-Hua-Sai. We also have a part 2 coming up this Saturday. Be sure to check that out. We'll see you there.